Yeah.
Let me tell you what to do now.
No, please tell me what to do.
I'm just kidding.
Did you try to push the button?
It's working now.
Oh, it is? So we want to ask you now, Martins, about the prayer tour. So let's fill out the story. A prayer walking.
Yes.
What's a prayer tour, and how does that fit?
Well, prayer tour is driving through places instead of walking. That's just the opposite. In prayer walk, you walk actually, or you jog as if you are running through a community, as if you are doing exercise through the community. And as you are doing that, you are speaking the words of power into the environment and into the community, and you begin to literally see transformation in the society. Oh, yeah. And prayer tour is when you have to now drive. It's just that you need to wind down your glass so you can speak words into the community. I prefer much more of prayer walk, but you come to communities where you're unable to prayer walk because the expanse of land is too large, then you have to do prayer tour. This is crazy. In 4 days, I did a prayer tour of five states of New England, from Boston, Massachusetts to New York to Rhode Island to New Hampshire to Maine to Vermont. Wow. In 5 days, we were not sleeping.
Amazing.
4 days. 5 countries, 5 states we were. Wow.
Wow. By the way, do you ever fast?
Oh, yeah. Well, fasting has 2 major sides from my perspective. One is the medicinal part of fast. Fasting is medicinal,
Medicinal.
Medicinal.
That's English.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's too simple. So,
He lets me kid him a lot, and he gives it back. Don't worry about it. He'll give it back. Don't be nervous for him. Go ahead.
So besides that, we do the fast that gives us some spiritual energy. Now, we have particular months of the year that we fast the whole month. January, we have a 30 days or 21 days of fast, continuous fast. That is every day. You fast daily. In December, we're fasting for like 2 weeks, but this fast is a little bit intense because you don't eat food. You only drink water. You drink water for 3 days, okay? So other days, you eat once a day. You eat once a day, but for 3 days, you just drink water. You live on water for 3 days. And this is done by everybody in the church.
It is or is not? It is everybody in the church.
It is. It's everybody.
So some new converts, we make them maybe go without food for like a day. The next time they do 2 days. Another time they're able to do the 3 days. So we graduate them like that, and you come to a time when it becomes okay. And then every month we have a 3 days of fast every month. You fast. We did a little bit of fast with team this past week. 3 days of fast, you just eat once a day. And so those are some of the fasts.
So it's again that accelerates the impact.
Oh, yes.
Because some come out by prayer and fasting. So a fasted lifestyle, basically weaving fasting into the prayer culture, is what we're after.
Yes.
So obviously you can see why this is so important. Mm-hmm. Be thinking of a couple examples of some signs and wonders and miracles. All right. I'm going to make a comment or two about prayer again. Okay. In our mandate here, in our mandate to saturate regions with church planting in every neighborhood, a little micro church connected to other micro churches. Mm-hmm. That's going to take a lot of fire, a lot of firepower. one of the things that we say to people is we want to cultivate, as disciples, a pray, hear, obey lifestyle. That's a follower of Jesus. They basically develop an intimacy with Jesus in prayer. Then they hear his voice through the word and the spirit. Then they obey his voice, okay, in every area of life by the power of the Holy Spirit. It's a pray, hear, obey lifestyle. Now, that's where the power is. That's what really it means to be a Christian. It's not whether you attend meetings or know your Bible. It's whether you have a lifestyle of praying, communing, then hearing, and then obeying. That's what it means to be a disciple. So we're called to make disciples of all nations. Now, in order to reach the lost, which is part of making a disciple, because we're here to seek and save the lost, right? That's what an apostolic people is, and the church is to be apostolic, meaning we're sent out ones to conquer new turf. That's the word apostle is a military term, to be sent out. Everybody's to be apostolic. So the role of an apostle is to equip the people to be apostolic. So the step of the three simple steps to reach lost people it's just as simple. It's a prayer, care, share lifestyle. Okay, a prayer, care, share lifestyle, meaning you pray to soften up the atmosphere around those unbelievers in your neighborhood, in your region. Then you care for them. You demonstrate the love of God in tangible ways to them. And then you share, simply meaning you hear their story, you tell your story, and then you tell God's story, which is the gospel. So both those things, whether it's a praying, hearing, obeying lifestyle, or a prayer, care, share lifestyle, both those agendas start with prayer. And it was the only thing the disciples asked of Jesus, teach us to pray. So prayer is the engine. It's the fire. It's the fueling engine. That connection with Jesus, that communication with God is the engine that drives an individual believer and a people, and then their missional effectiveness in an area. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. So prayer, that's why we will be ineffectual completely. I mean, we'll only be as effective as our prayer lives, both individually and corporately. So at this point, it's difficult because and embarrassing to some degree because our prayer life is way beneath the mandate we've been given, which is why we're not being successful right at this point in terms of evangelism and discipleship and church and multiplying church plants.
Yeah.
We're stalled out, and this is the issue.
Yeah.
Is prayer and fasting.
Yeah, you know those the strongholds that are in the communities where we are taking the gospel to. Imagine you want to take the gospel to a university. You have a university here in Lelmi.
Yeah, just over the hill.
Wow. You have a university in Fort Collins. You want to take the gospel and do saturation church planting. You have all kinds of strongholds existing in the university. You go into different communities. You have all kinds of strongholds there. So if prayer have not preceded our efforts, we just waste our efforts. You know, we just labor, dissipates. And so prayer is what is going to weaken those strongholds and make the hearts of the people open to the gospel that we're bringing. Amen.
And so you would suggest that we do some mapping, some spiritual mapping of the university, for example.
Yes.
And walk around and look for places that the spirits are activated in.
Yeah.
And you can sense it. You can see. There's maybe even visible signs of demonic activity in that little place right there.
Yeah.
So give me an example of well, actually we went around the Colorado State University, CSU, the other day, and right on the very corner, the southwest corner was a mosque built, brand new mosque, on the southwest corner of the campus in Fort Collins.
Oh yes.
But even before that, right at the gate to the university, when we pulled up, I found myself all of a sudden, I just burst out in praying in tongues.
Yes.
And he turned, he goes, Tim, he noticed there was a altar.
Yeah.
He picked up, there's an altar right there, but my spirit reacted, but I didn't know there was an altar. He's more discerning. He goes,
no, but you started the prayer.
Well, but you're intelligent about it. I mean, I just, there it goes. So how do you discern an altar? Describe an altar, and then how do you pray against an altar?
Well, give that example of the gate. What was the altar?
Well,
Okay, it's it's the entrance. It's a T junction. It's a T junction where most T junctions have watch the things that are built around the T junction. Yeah, most T junctions have altars around them.
An altar means a place where a demonic presence is coming and going.
Yeah.
That's what he means by an altar.
Okay. Yes.
You may not necessarily see a physical sign of a.
You may not see a physical sign. Much of the studies of scripture will give you an indication of where altars are. Like you go to places where you see Roman Catholic churches, around that place you find you plenty find an altar. Places where you find mosque, you find an altar. Shopping malls, you go to shopping malls, you'll find an altar somewhere in the building.
I'll tell you another way. Anything that there's a place where worship takes place. I'm not talking about worship to God now. I'm just talking about worship in general. In other words, worship is represented by, oh, I got to have this. Oh, I love this. I think about it a lot. Material things. Like a shopping mall is like, ha, ha, ha. We walk through and it's like a temple. It's like a holy temple where we like, there's an elevation in our heart for those things, and so we get emotional about it. We attach to them. It's like, I got to have that thing. So we go there, and there's an elevated interaction with the demonic in that place. So it could be a stadium.
A devotion.
Yeah, stadium. We got to win. We're, the Cowboys. And I'm a part of the Cowboys, and I'm cowboyness, and, whatever. And there's a place where worship has gone on. Could be, there's an elevated energy in that place. And by the way, that is a biblical word, energia. Just so you know, in case you didn't know. Yeah. Kids me all the time about this because I try to let people know when we use words, we want to have biblical words. And the New Age has robbed us of our words. And then the accusation from an evangelical is, oh, you're just spiritist or spiritual, or you're weird, or you're unbiblical. It's like, no. Highly biblical. Oh yeah, you bet. You're the one that's unbiblical because you're not practicing what's in the Bible. Oh yes. So you may know content, but you don't have reality. Yeah. So that's what you would mean an altar, right? Yes. Is a place that's demonic energy or transactions are taking place.
Sometimes it may be a worship to God. Sometimes it may be a worship to God, but you just know. You remember the experience of Jacob. Jacob slept over in a place and he had a dream, angels coming down and going up. So he said, oh, this must be the house of God. So such places, and immediately he recognized it and put a stone there, poured oil on it, and said, this is the house of God. So anywhere there's a devotion, and some, like Tim has said, some of those places you just know that there's an altar. And another way is you perceive it. Because I have gone around many places, many communities, and so I can stand in a place and perceive an altar, because you just perceive an awful spirit at work. You perceive another spirit at work. Like when he was driving, and we drove to that point, as he turned, as I was about, I pointed and he began praying. I said, "That's an altar there." He said, "He just picked it." So even if I drive to a place, I can perceive if there's an altar here. Yeah. Not completely, I'm not perfect. I'm just speaking. Sometime we went to this place in one of the catacombs in Paris, under the Sacré-Cœur, and my wife was with me, and she said, no, she doesn't want to go there because you feel a presence,
a dark presence.
Oh, you feel it.
Sometimes an altar will be a place where they're extracting commitment illegally or soul ties. Like a fraternity house, there's a sense in which you will create an alliance with us, and it's an illegal alliance. We'll accept you, but you have to go through the hazing process. There creates a soul tie and a spiritual energy which attracts demonic energy, and thus the drunkenness, thus the date rapes, thus the just the lewdness and stuff like that. So it could be something like that. Now, what do you do when we run across a place in Laramie, in Cheyenne, in any place in the world, in anybody listening, and we're prayer walking now. This is where, we're prayer walking, and we recognize that we've spiritual mapped where we've detected that this is a place where there's transactions going on demonically. What do we do now?
Part of what we have done is we go back. It's noted. We go back. So when we're playing that night, we want to play. That's an issue to play about, and we cut off the satanic connection to that particular place.
Now tell me, go through it. Actually do it.
Okay.
Act like you're doing it right now. Act
Okay.
like we're
So
right near an altar.
For example, I've come to this community and I noticed like where he picked up and started playing from. We drove past the downtown Fort Collins. He took us downtown, and I pointed to a building. I said, "Hey, what's that?" He said, "That's a church." I said, "Is it a gay church? Is it a church that welcomes gay?" He said he didn't have that information. He wasn't too sure. But you see, by discernment, I'm picking up something that is operational from that place. So if I note that place, I like to come back and see it again. Then we take like 3 days of prayer in the night, and we are praying over that place. And one of the prayers is, usually because there's a spiritual energy there's something that draws the demonic on every altar. That means an altar is only effective to the measure to which sacrifices are placed on it. For example, if the sacrifice is time, the more people patronize it, the more the altar is effective. If
Time.
Yeah.
The more go ahead, say it again.
the more time is committed to that altar, the more the altar is effective.
The more the
Altar.
is effective.
Yes. So if it's like a stadium, the more games go on around that place, the more that altar is effective because there's so much of activity going on there. So what we do is to declare that the altar become desolate. So when there is no more sacrifices on that altar, those demons, the spirits can't come again. Because what attracts the spirit is the sacrifice. But once the sacrifice is gone, the spirit looks for another place.
So time, money, affection,
Devotion,
devotion,
whatever it is.
energy.
Yeah. So when we do that, we do that prayer, and it goes on midnight. We do it like 3 days. Sometimes we do it like 7 days, and then you have some confidence. With that confidence, we can now go to that altar and pray. So let me give you a practical illustration. We went to this community in Nigeria, in Kebbi State. There's a place, if you Google your map, you find Kebbi State. The name of the community is Tadulga. Now, we were in this community because one of the indigenes of that community invited us. He's giving his life to Jesus, and he wants Jesus in their community. So we got there, and we did some scanty spiritual mapping, and we began praying. By the time we were finishing the prayer walk, I noticed a tree outside of the community. Now, all the houses are concentrated at a particular geographical point. This tree is way off from the houses. Now, usually in such communities, those kind of trees are usually in the middle of the community. But here, so I perceived maybe the community moved and left that tree. So I told the guys, I said, hey, we need to pray around this tree. I said, some demons are living there. Then I got a bottle of olive oil. You're familiar with that? Guess what? I poured some of this olive oil on the tree, and a woman began running towards us from the houses and was calling the community, and people came charging. They are killing our idol. They are killing our idol. And the guy said, oh no. Hey, Martins, you didn't say this is an idol. I said, no, I don't know it's an idol. I only know that some spiritual activity goes on around this place. So the lady said, hey, you see that? I said, no. We are sacrificing So you see, I used a little bit of wisdom there. So I said, no, we are pouring sacrifice.
It's a legal Jesus lie.
I said, no, we are pouring sacrifice to it. She said, no, this oil is destructive. It's not the kind of oil. So I brought the bottle out. I said, see, it's an ordinary oil. He said, no, this kind of oil will kill the idol.
Wow.
So